AGT Food and Ingredients Inc. is one of the world's largest suppliers of pulses, staple foods, and food ingredients. AGT Foods was founded on the guiding principle from producer to the world, buying pulses and grains, including lentils, peas, chickpeas, and beans, as well as durum wheat, rice, and other products from producers around its facilities located in some of the best agricultural growing regions in Canada, the United States, Turkey, Australia, China, and South Africa, and shipping them to over 100 countries around the globe, with a network of customers in the Americas, Europe, Africa, and Asia. AGT Foods and its global operating divisions are committed to its position as a leader in providing quality products to customers with reliable and timely shipments for bulk, bagged, canned, and packed pulses and staple foods. The core pulses business of AGT Foods supplies customers with premium quality red split and football lentils, king red lentils, layered, Eston and Rich Lee lentils, Queen green lentils, Kabuli chickpeas, B90 chickpeas, yellow split and whole peas, green split and whole peas, whole and split Desi chickpeas, navy beans, pinto beans, dark and light kidney beans, black beans, white beans, faba beans, and other specialty crops such as canary seed, flaxseed, and millet. Additional facilities for the production of pulse ingredients, including flours, proteins, starches, and fibers, provide high-quality ingredients to food companies around the world. AGT Foods' Retail Packed Foods Unit offers a diverse range of products, including pulses, grains, rice, ready-to-eat meals, gourmet specialties, and a variety of other small packaged and canned foods. AGT Foods products are available at grocery retailers across Canada and in many parts of the United States, as well as markets including Africa and Europe. With a global footprint, superior production facilities, and an experienced management team, AGT Foods and its global divisions strive each and every day to create the highest level of customer satisfaction by supplying the best quality pulses, staple foods, and food ingredients from producer to the world.
Hello, everybody. My name is Chantal Eager, National Bakery Manager for AGT Foods Africa. Welcome to the AGT Foods Masterclass on plant-based proteins. Thanks for registering. We have an interesting afternoon ahead. Remember that we are giving away 2 1,000 Rand Woolies vouchers at the end of the webinar, so keep watching. Let's go see what's happening in the kitchen.
Hello and welcome to the AGT Kitchen for today. My name is Gabrielle Jackson. I'm a registered dietitian and regulatory consultant in South Africa, and we're really looking forward to bringing you these AGT newly launched plant-based ingredients. And joining me today is Sarah Fitchett. She is a very well-traveled chef, and she'll be showing us a little bit more about these products.
Well, thank you very much, Gabby, and I'm super excited to share with you these AGT ingredients and some fun recipes you can use them for. Okay, so Gabs, what we're going to start with first is a single ingredient, clean label pea protein pasta. It's a really great dish we're going to make, really simple, just some fresh tomatoes, some olives, some baby spinach, and some red onion, a little bit of veg style.
Okay, stunning. I'm going to just pop the pasta into the bowl.
Perfect.
So
we've got boiling water with just a pinch of salt and some olive oil. But for those, you don't have to use olive oil. You can use a different oil. You don't even have to put salt in it. You can just boil the pasta as it is. The beauty with this, go for it, Gabs. So the beauty of this pasta is if you don't want to add olive oil or salt, it doesn't get very sticky even once it's cooked. And it's just a very versatile, doesn't have huge amounts of flavor, so it will take on whatever you're going to mix it with.
What I really like about this pasta, when I was having a look at it, I was looking at the nutritional information. And it's actually a complete protein. So this pasta on its own has got what we call a high biological value. And because of that, it's actually got a full amino acid profile. And in South Africa, we actually have to have a full amino acid profile in order to make protein claim. So this pasta on its own actually qualifies for making a high in protein claim.
In a pan here, we've got just a little bit of olive oil, some garlic and tomatoes. And we're just going to sweat these down to infuse the garlic with the tomato sauce, and just so the tomatoes soften. So some of them will become a little bit mushy, so it'll coat the pasta quite nicely, and the rest will stay whole. So I've got some sliced tomatoes, and I've got some whole tomatoes there. We're just going to add in some tomato paste, throw in some red onions, some baby spinach, some pumpkin, and some olives. You can see the tomatoes, they're softening a little bit and getting a little bit mushy. The garlic is infusing into the tomatoes. So I'm just going to put in a spoon of tomato puree. Let's give that a toss.
Want a wooden spoon, or would you prefer tossing?
Classic chef.
You have the careless toss.
We'll start
for the
with
rest of us.
tossing.
For the rest of us mere mortals, we would have to stir it with a spoon.
With a spoon. I'm just going to put in a little pinch of chili flakes. You don't have to if you are spice sensitive, but I just think it just lifts the tomatoes, and it just brings in like a third angle. And also in winter, it's a super nice warming dish. Okay, and then I'm just going to add in some red onion and let that just cook down.
That's definitely another signature chefy move, because I definitely don't cook with tongs at home unless I'm turning something.
So yeah, you can see it's looking super nice, shiny, and starting to get nice and soft. Okay, so in the sauce, I'm going to add the olives and some baby spinach. You don't have to add baby spinach. You can add it can be from frozen instead of from fresh. I just have a personal preference. I just fresh. Fresh is best for me. Okay, so while we're waiting for that,
It looks like
there's our sauce. Just going to add a few basil leaves in there. Just for the flavor. Just a touch of salt. So the butternut I just roasted until it's soft, added some salt, pepper, and olive oil, and I'm just going to pop that in there at the last minute, and then because it's already cooked, I don't want to cook it too much more so it doesn't go too mushy, and then we'll add the pasta in all in there together, tossed and served. And add the butternuts into the sauce just to warm through. Give it a stir.
Are you going to mix the sauce into the pasta or put the sauce on top of the pasta?
You can do either way. I like to mix the sauce and the pasta together and then pour it, and that's way then the sauce coats the pasta. Otherwise, you know, if you want to keep it separate, because some people like to have their sauce on top of the pasta, it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to throw some of that in here. Just keeping some aside. Teamwork makes the dream work. And I've got a little bit for the top. Whoops, sorry. Just get out of the way. Okay. And then really simple, just going to garnish it with a little bit of cracked black pepper, some herb oil, and some fresh basil. So this is just olive oil blitzed with fresh basil, a little bit of salt, and there you go. That smells amazing.
I hope you are as hungry as what I am, even though you can't smell the aromas that I can smell, because it does smell absolutely incredible.
And tuck in.
Okay, Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to make some arancini balls or deep fried risotto balls. They've become quite popular and they're really fun. What we're going to do is we're actually going to use these incredible crumbs, these two different types of crumbs. So they're pea protein crumbs. We've got a medium crumb and a coarse crumb. And the thing that's really exciting about this product is the fact that you can use it in any way that you want.
Yeah.
As we're cooking, you'll see how it just really works beautifully with this product. And something that I really like about this product is it's gluten-free. So we're seeing more and more movement towards gluten-free foodstuffs, more people coming up with celiac disease, with gluten intolerance. So gluten-free foods have really started booming in the market. So this pea crumb is gluten-free. The risotto, Sarah, is gluten-free, correct?
Yes.
And the other thing that's really exciting for me is the fact that it's also GMO-free. So we looking at a GMO-free, single ingredient, gluten-free product. There are lots of different claims that we can start making on our product. And as we go through this, we'll really see how the ingredient works so beautifully.
Yeah, I love this ingredient because we're using a combination of the fine and the coarse crumb. As you can see, the fine crumb is going to give it a lovely initial coat, and then we're going to dip secondly into the coarse crumb, and it's going to give it the nice sort of chunky, crunchy coat. The beauty with this is you can actually mix both of these products. You can mix them together. You can do them just fine crumb. You can do just coarse crumb, depending on what you're looking for from the dish.
So you've really got a lot of versatility with these two different textures.
Exactly. So, Gabs, what we have here is the for the arancini. We've got a risotto base, and I made this. This is plant-based. I've used a gluten-free vegetable stock, and I've used a nutritional yeast, which will give the risotto that nutty, cheesy Parmesan flavor that everyone loves about a risotto. It's that sort of lovely, rich warmth you get from it. So I just fried some onions and garlic, added the risotto, slowly added your stock, and then right at the end where you would normally add your Parmesan, you add the nutritional yeast. Then to color the arancini, we've gone with natural products again here. We've got roasted beetroot, just roasted with a little bit of olive oil, salt, pepper, and then blended. And then I've got a butternut, also roasted olive oil, some salt, and blended to a nice puree. And then this, we've just got a pea and spinach puree. And this, I've just blanched the peas and the spinach, salt, lemon juice, and blended. So very simple and very, very fresh. And all we're going to do is, if you want to just pop in some color there, and we're just going to mix it together to color the risotto, and then we're going to roll them into little balls.
Okay, amazing. I love the fact that you're using vegetable purees to color the arancini rather than using a colorant, because again, with the clean label movement that we're seeing internationally, I mean, in Europe in particular, we see a lot more clean label products being made, and using things like vegetables to color your food instead of using food additives and various different colorants is really something that we're seeing more and more consumers internationally move towards, opting for food products that have got that more natural sort of slant to it. And it's also a nice way to hide some vegetables into the diet whilst making it quite fun.
Especially, yeah, absolutely. And with kids also, you've got the nutrition content of your vegetables, the coloring of the vegetables, you've got the starches through your risotto, and then you've got your protein coming in your pea crumb at the end.
Okay, so we're just going to roll as many of these as we can, and then we're going to start crumbing.
Absolutely. These are super tasty, and they're quite fun to make.
Okay, Sarah, so now we're going to crumb our arancini, and we're going to use both the fine crumb and the coarse crumb.
Yes, absolutely. I find the fine crumb gives a nice overall coat, and then the coarse crumb gives it a nice chunky texture. The beauty of this is you can mix up your coarse or your fine crumb, so you can just do fine or you can just do coarse, or you can mix them together, and it's so versatile.
And so we're starting the crumbing process in a gluten-free flour.
Yeah.
And then we're putting the product into a plant-based milk. So I'm going to let you do that part and get your hands dirty.
Cool.
And then we've got our fine pea crumb.
fine pea crumb first. As you can see, it just sticks so nicely, very, very easily. Then I just pop it into the milk again, and then into the coarse crumb.
It really does have such a nice diversity in texture.
And what's really also nice, Gabs, is that as you crumb it, it also firms up the product quite nicely. So when we drop these or when we cook these, they will just hold their shape beautifully.
Okay. And this, so the pea protein is a single ingredient product.
That's right.
Hasn't got anything else added into it. And we mentioned earlier that we used vegetables to color the arancini rather than using food colorants. So in terms of that clean label look at the end of the day, your ingredient list just being really clean cut, no preservatives, no additives in the final product, it really ticks all of those boxes. Okay, so we're going to start frying our arancini now, and we'll see this beautiful golden color that the crumb takes on.
Yeah, I'll stick those in there.
The fact that this crumb is literally nothing but pea protein or nothing but peas really absolutely amazes me, especially as we see how this works.
Yeah, and what you'll see, Gabs, is also how the fine crumb to the coarse crumb. Let's have some butternut,
Change it up a little bit.
Yeah, the fine crumb to the coarse crumb, how they both color and they both give a different texture. And it's quite quick. It's about a minute to a minute and a half, and they get nice and golden.
It's amazing how it's just holding together though, because sometimes when you put something into fry, then it just sort of starts crumbling because of all of the movement. And it's still just holding it together so nicely.
It stays so nice and firm. And I don't know if you can see there, you've got like the fine crumb and you've got that coarse crumb, which just gives it a whole sort of different level of texture. Okay.
Oh, wow.
There we go.
Yeah, that color, I mean, on anything that we have that's crumbed, that's really the sort of go-to color. And even with the green underneath, you can see that green sort of peeking through a little bit, but that golden color really is just so smooth and so clear.
With a lot of oils, when you do fry things, particularly crumb things, you get the crumb that falls apart a lot. And here, I mean, if you could have sort of can kind of see, there's very little in the oil that has actually fallen off the crumb.
So that's really stuck and
yeah, it's held on. And you get that dirty, dark oil from items falling apart, but this just stays really nicely together.
Can I start getting the plate ready for you on that side, Sarah?
So we're just going to do this simply. I mean, these are great. I'm just going to put some microgreens in the middle, some arancini, and then a little bit of, we've made like a truffle vegan mayonnaise. This is a plant-based milk with some olive oil and canola oil, just slowly beaten, with some lemon juice, apple cider vinegar, and I've added a little bit of truffle oil in there for an extra hit.
I'm just taking creative license here. I hope you don't mind.
Out. Okay, Gabs, we're just going to add a little bit of truffle mayo onto the top there, a couple of flowers. Okay, we'll cut some of these open, and I'll just explain to you what I love also so much about this is the fact that this is a deflavored crumb, so you've got complete and absolute flexibility with exactly how you want to flavor this. You can add anything, garlic and herb, paprika, spices, anything. You've got so much flexibility. And as you can see, as I cut it into this, it's a nice firm crumb, super easy to cut open.
And it's left that inside just so nice and soft.
Yeah, let's pinch one of these guys.
It's incredible just hearing that crunch, that crisp on the shell as you cut into it.
And then you don't have to even have a vegan mayo with an arancini. You can have anything. or a chicken schnitzel, or like the what did we say earlier? Like little chicken nuggets. Got the different types of fish fingers. You've got a beautiful firm crumb on the outside.
Okay, so the next dish that Sarah's going to be showing us is a burrito bowl, which she's going to be making with the texturized pea protein, or TPP. This incredible ingredient is completely deflavored, again, single ingredient, GMO free. It really is just such a versatile ingredient. And as we go through this, you'll see just how versatile it is. So Sarah, you're going to start us off here with reconstituting the TPP.
Yeah, exactly. So the TPP, as per manufacturer's guidelines, is 1 to 2. So 1 part of TPP, or texturized pea protein, to 2 parts of liquid. What I've done here is we're making a sort of Mexican sort of spice style burrito mince, and I've got 100 grams of the texturized pea protein, the TPP, super light in weight. And then I've got 150 grams of vegetable stock and tomato. So I'm literally just going to pour that in.
And you're using vegetable stock and tomato because that TPP being deflavored just takes on the flavor.
Just takes on all the flavor. Super versatile. I'm just giving it a mix.
If you wanted something that didn't really have that same sort of depth of flavor, you'd maybe just reconstitute with water.
Yeah, if you just want a little bit simpler, you can reconstitute with water, because we want something a little bit sort of vibey and detailed here, sort of Mexican style. It's just going to take on all that flavoring. As you can see, it just absorbs it, and it's just turning into something quite light and fluffy.
Okay, so that's going to reconstitute for a little while now.
Yeah.
And then we'll be able to start cooking with it.
We're going to just do a quick sauce with this, like a sort of spicy tomato mince. Just quickly chop an onion.
Can I put this on?
Yeah, please. Just popping in the onions. A little bit of garlic. Just a splash of oil. Okay. So while that starts frying down, I'm just going to prepare some of the ingredients for this. So this is like a deconstructed sort of burrito bowl or burrito plate. We've just got some beautiful, nice butterhead lettuce, which we're going to use as the little bowls for the protein, like a wrap. So we've just got softened onions and garlic in a pan here, and I'm going to add the TPP.
It's amazing how just that little bit of color from the tomato, the TPP, is also taken on just that very slight red tone from the tomato from reconstituting.
What I'm going to add in there now is the spices, and because this is deflavored, again, that you can add anything to it. And I know that AGT Foods do also make a combination of spices and flavoring that to the specifications if you're looking for a particular product or something you need. So I've just got some smoked paprika and some chili powder, some pepper,
and chili flakes.
Chili flakes in there.
Nice, spicy,
just
Mexican style.
Salt. And I'm going to add in some tomato puree, just about a tablespoon or 2, and some tomato paste, guys, if you want to give that a mix.
Sure thing.
It cooks really quickly also for time-wise. You don't have to worry about is the chicken cooked or is the beef cooked or anything along those lines. It just is so quick and easy.
Oh, and it's just taken on those flavors and those smells so quickly.
And just add in a few beans. These are just sugar snaps that I've just blanched in hot water, a little bit of salt. So that's ready. As you can see, it's got a nice rich coloring to it. It smells super tasty. Okay.
That really does get your mouth watering, doesn't it? It's just ready to go.
Yeah. And this mince, you can also, like you can do it in a wrap. You can turn it into meatballs.
But because it's got that mince-like texture, you can really use it for any application where you'd normally use an animal-based mince, a beef mince or something. So whether it was to make a sausage, to make meatballs, to make a normal mince, you could use it for any of those types of applications.
Absolutely. And then I've just got again here a little bit of vegan mayo. And that's it.
Some flowers for Hassan.
Flowers for color.
That really was so quick and easy, and it looks so delicious. Okay, Sarah, so what is this product that you're going to be making now?
So again, we're going to be working with the TPP and the texturized pea protein, but we're going to make a beef burger patty. And this ratio for reconstitution is 1 to 2, or you can do a 1 to 3. So we've got your TPP. Going to add in some food coloring, some caramel food coloring. This is supplied by AGT Foods. Okay. And then just add some water. And then just mix it. And as you can see, a
Really
nice dark
color.
color.
Color on really nicely.
Very quickly. And this will absorb all that caramel color.
Okay, so that's just going to stand and reconstitute for a little while before we combine it with all the other ingredients.
Okay, so here we have the TPP that's been soaking in the water and the caramel coloring. As you can see, it's taken on like a really sort of dark, mince-like looking color and texture.
And the color that it is now is basically the color of the cooked mince, so that the final product will
look
sort of shine
exactly
through
like
that,
this.
that final color.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in some of the ingredients to make the burger patty. So I'm just going to put these in the mixer one at a time. So I'm going to go in with the TPP first.
So something that I find really interesting is obviously a lot of plant-based products that are currently available are soy-based, and the thing that's so nice about this TPP is the fact that there's obviously no soy in it, and obviously there's also a big move away from soy products because of the fact that it's an endocrine inhibitor. So it can have negative effects on the endocrine system if you are consuming a lot of soy in your diet. So the fact that this is actually a really good, viable alternative, and you know it's still going to give you the same texture and feel as what a lot of your other products have. Yeah. It's a really nice alternative.
Okay, so in here I've got we've got some burger spice mix. We've got some fava bean protein. We've got some pea protein and potato starch. And we've got some liquid smoke to give it that nice smoky burger like a barbecue burger flavor. Got some psyllium husk, which is just reconstituted, which is the binding agent. You can use other products for that as well, like xanthan gum. And then we've got some canola oil and coconut oil. So I'm just going to pop these spices all in here and seasoning.
And that burger spice mix is the AGT burger spice mix.
Yes.
So again, just really nice to get that all together. Knowing that you're getting it from a good supplier.
Liquid smoke and psyllium husk.
And if you wanted to, you could probably use some of that coarse pea crumb, the AGT coarse pea crumb, to also bind it and give that same sort of effect that you would with the bread crumb that would sometimes go into a burger patty.
Yeah. So this is just going to mix for about a minute to 2 or 3, just to combine all of the seasoning and the
proteins.
Okay, so now you're making the burger patties.
Yeah. So this is, as you can see, just binds beautifully. It holds its shape. You can form it. This would also make great meatballs.
You really do have versatility with all the benefits of soy-free, it's GMO-free, it's just really an incredible product. And with the other ingredients that you put in here, the other types of proteins that you put into this burger, it's also going to help again to just round off that amino acid profile, because in South Africa, we need to have that full amino acid profile in order to make a protein claim. And various different countries have got different requirements for making protein claims. Some, it's just about the total protein content. Some, it's about the amino acid profile. There are various different elements that you need to consider, and there really are a lot of boxes, and you've got a really good baseline when you're working with this TPP. I'm going to just start toasting some buns whilst you're making those last few burgers, just to get them really nice and just delicious looking and tasting.
Okay, so we've got 4 beautiful looking beef burger patties here. I'm just going to pop those in to the pan. And again, this also really cooks quite quickly. And it's about a minute to 2 on either side.
So we're just doing quite a fun take on the normal beef burger, which would just be tomato and lettuce.
Have your usual gherkins, that sort of thing. Just doing something a little bit fresh. I've got again a vegan mayonnaise that I've added. It's got a nice peppery taste to it, and then we've made a beetroot chutney, getting in all the colors on the diet there. Just some fresh greens, a little bit of onion for a bit of bite, and some sliced cucumber just to keep it really nice and fresh. So I'm just going to plate up 2 burgers there.
Okay, moment of truth. Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can see that it gets nice and dark.
It looks almost exactly like a beef burger
Like
patty.
a nice char-grilled burger patty.
And they just don't even begin to crumble or fall apart or anything like that. And the only thing that's binding it is that psyllium husk. That's absolutely incredible. So you've got a product here which you could claim that it's vegan if you're not putting any other plant-based ingredients onto your bun. You have got burger patties which are GMO-free. They look, I mean, it looks exactly like a beef burger patty. It's absolutely unreal. And from the smell of them, they smell really delicious. So I'm quite sure that they're going to taste delicious too.
So if you want to pop, I'll bring this closer. One on there and one on there. And then I'm just going to put in a little bit of this ketchup, beetroot ketchup.
It's so fun that instead of having that very typical bright red ketchup that you get, that it's got that really beautiful tone to it.
Splodge of mayo. A little bit of microgreens. And done. There we go.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Whilst we've had the opportunity to really play around and experiment with these incredible products, AGT, I think, has really knocked it out of the park. We had our veggie pasta, which, as we said, just a really versatile, very simple pasta that just takes on the flavors and really holds its shape beautifully, which is very unusual for products in its range. We had a look at the pea crumbs,
The fine and the coarse.
the medium crumb and the coarse crumb.
and just really playing around with those and getting that incredible crunch and crisp that we so often looking for. And obviously, you know, playing around with this TPP, we really did play around. We tried so many different things, and it's just so incredible how versatile these products are, as well as the fact that they are GMO free, the fact that they are gluten free, the fact that they're single ingredient products. You know, there are just so many different elements that are so unique to these products, and they really are the kinds of products that you can use as the foundation in so much product development. And you'd be absolutely crazy to not take the opportunity to try these products out.
Welcome back. I really enjoyed that. Today we are talking plant-based alternatives. Let's face it, it's the new reality. Many of us are cutting down on meat and moving towards more vegetables and plant-based options for our daily intake of food. In the kitchen, you have just seen Gabby and Sarah cooking with 3 new ingredients. These new ingredients are texturized pulse protein, or TPP, veggie pasta, and veggie crumb. Sarah showed you just how versatile and easy it is to use these ingredients as a crumb and a meat alternative, as well as our new veggie pasta made with 100% peas. So let's get down and talk about these products with our guests, about nutritional values, applications, and a whole lot more. Please welcome Gabrielle Jackson, dietitian and head of Facts Regulatory and Nutritional Division.
Afternoon. Thank you so much for having me here today, Chantal.
Next guest, all the way from AGT Foods head office in Canada, Dr. Mehmet Tilbek, Director and Research and Development at AGT.
Hello, Chantal. Thank you.
We also have in studio Wendy Worthington, National Sales Manager, AGT Foods Africa Division.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Chantal.
And lastly, Donovan Wool, Director and Pro-Veg, South Africa.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let us start with Dr. Mehmet. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Chantal. I'm heading up the Research and Development Center in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan for AGT Foods. My background is food science, agriculture, and engineering. And I'm heading basically 9 to 10 scientists and food technicians working on different development and activities.
Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Tilbek. Let us go to Gabby. Tell us more about FACTS and what they do.
Well, FACTS is a team of multidisciplinary people. We are various different types of scientists. We've got doctors, food scientists, dietitians. I'm the head of the Regulatory and Nutrition Division at FACTS, and we are consultants to the food industry, and we've got an incredible passion for this growth that we're seeing in the plant-based space, not only from a testing point of view, but also from a regulatory standpoint, and just trying to really understand the needs of the industry as well as what consumers are looking for.
Great. And finally, Donovan, who is Pro-Veg and what do they represent?
So Pro-Veg is an international food awareness organization, and we try to change the food system from one that relies mainly on animals to one that relies on more healthy, sustainable, and ethical food choices. And for us, that's plant-based and also cellular agriculture. And so we work with decision makers, the government, big food industry. We work with companies like AGT, just trying to get people excited about plant-based, trying to help just push it a little bit along. And so we're really, really excited to be here for these new products.
Great, thanks. Okay, Gabby, tell our viewers what is the difference between vegetarian and plant-based eating plans. We also hear terms like flexitarian and meat light.
Well, it's actually quite an interesting and growing sort of scope of different types of dietary preferences. And interestingly enough, vegan eating and vegetarian eating is defined in South African legislation, and very often the changes or the minor details are in where you draw the line, essentially. So the meat light eater is someone that would typically eat a little bit less animal products. Same thing with the flexitarian. Sometimes they will eat, go through periods where they'd only eat plant-based foods, but every now and again they will have animal proteins. But your vegetarian diet typically will consist of primarily plant-based foodstuffs, although they will still often have dairy, cow's milk, egg, honey, and some other animal proteins or animal products, whereas your vegan diet typically is purely plant-based and will not have any of those animal proteins in them at all.
Okay, that's interesting terms. Now, Dr. Tolbach, what exactly is the veggie pasta, the TPP, and the veggie crumb, and what is the process used to produce these products?
Veggie pasta is a single ingredient pasta produced from pea flour. It's basically produced according to the traditional pasta processing technologies, extrusion and drying. Texturized pea protein, it's basically a high protein texturized pea protein. Again, it's a single ingredient texturized protein which can mimic the overall meat alternatives in several different formulations. And the veggie crumb is produced according to some thermal treatment and some agglomeration process. It's again a single ingredient which we can utilize it as part of the batters and breadings or coating systems or as a binder in different formulations as well.
Okay, thank you. Wendy, why pea protein and not whey protein?
Yeah, now I get asked that a lot, especially in the trade. I get to meet all sorts of interesting people, some more discerning than others. Pea protein, and why we're so proud of the product, is a clean label. And by clean label, we mean no gluten, no GMOs. It's perfect. It's a standalone ingredient. Whey protein is gluten. It's not gluten-free, and for the celiac sufferers, it is a problem. Though both are rich in protein, calcium and various other nutrients, whey has slightly more protein than the pea protein, and those are for those that go to gym and do all sorts of things and want to build muscle. However, pea protein is quite similar. It's higher in iron, which I think is a big bonus.
Definitely. Yeah. Seems like pea protein really holds its own. There's a perception around sports people that they need to have meat in their diet. Donovan, could they still follow a plant-based diet and still perform at their peak?
Yeah, so that's definitely one of the biggest questions we're asked at ProVeg, and for me personally as a guy. So yes, definitely. And when I went plant-based, it was definitely something that I was worried about. Before, when I wasn't eating plant-based, I was that guy who would go to KFC and only eat a bucket of chicken, nothing else. At the braai, it was just meat and potatoes. So when I went plant-based, I was a little bit worried, but I did the research and I found out that you can get all the nutrients you need from a plant-based diet. And there are record holders in strength disciplines and endurance, in skill sports like tennis, all around the world. And for myself, I went from a 105 kilogram couch potato to doing Comrades and Ironman in the same month on a 100% plant-based diet. So definitely.
Wow, that's very interesting. Gabby, from a nutritional standpoint, what are the requirements for making a protein claim in South Africa, and why are they important?
Well, making protein claims in South Africa is actually quite a diverse topic, because it's not just about the total protein that you've got in your product. It's actually about the quality of the protein, which is so important. We see more and more movement towards, and I'm sure Donovan, you'll agree with this, is it's all about combining everything in the diet to make sure that you're getting what is termed as the essential amino acids. And in South Africa, our legislation actually requires that if you're going to make a protein claim on a food product, you have to have all of the essential amino acids. The reason why essential amino acids are called essential amino acids is because our body doesn't make them. So we have to get them from our food. And those are the building blocks to muscles, to collagen, to all those kinds of things that we need in our body. And one of the things that I actually think is so incredible about these AGT products is the fact that, especially like the veggie pasta is actually a full protein. It qualifies for making a protein claim. It's got a full amino acid profile. It is high enough in total protein. And I mean, as an option, as a mother with children, you
Yeah.
can imagine it's a really nice option to be able to offer that to kids, to people who choose to eat primarily a plant-based diet.
Yeah.
It's a very versatile product, and it really fills
Definitely.
a really big gap in the market, which for me is really exciting.
Yeah.
And then we've got all of those exciting marketing claims we can
Brilliant.
start making.
Yeah, that's brilliant for feeding young children, ensuring that they get all their protein requirements. And which child doesn't love pasta?
Exactly.
Dr. Tilbach, what are the benefits of using pea over soy or wheat?
Thank you for this question, Chantal. Overall, peas, they come with a very interesting sustainability story. In general, because the pulses and peas, they fixate nitrogen in the soil. So compared to wheat, it has a lot of benefits by bringing the additional sustainability portion, which it can handle also the lower water conditions, being a cool season crop, and then handling the low moisture requirements. In addition, peas are gluten-free and as well as non-GMO. So compared to soy and compared to wheat, there are quite a bit of benefits in terms of clean label and the clean labeling requirements. And in addition to that, peas are also low fat compared to soy, which brings a really low calorie. And compared to wheat, peas bring a lot of micronutrients, because peas are quite rich in terms of calcium, magnesium, and several other micronutrients such as potassium and phosphorus. And versus wheat, it's much higher. And these are all the additional benefits. When you think about all, it really brings a lot of attributes which can complement the different formulations.
Great. I just want to ask the audience and the viewers, if you have any questions, please to post them on the link on the chat, and we will attend to them after we've spoken to our panel. Now, Donovan, why are there so few males wanting to follow a plant-based diet? And do you think that a plant-based meaty burger might be the solution to this?
Yeah, so that's definitely, a lot of it's got to do with stigma. You know, there's this idea that men have to eat meat and you have to have meat to be strong. And when you go to the braai, you're going to put that 500-gram Texan steak on, and you're going to burn the meat and drink your beer. And I think that's a big stigma that we don't have to have. And these juicy, beefy tasting veggie burgers do that. If you go to the braai and I put a cauliflower steak on there, you know, my friends are going to rag me to death. But if I go there with a burger made with your product, and it's a meaty burger and it looks like a meaty burger, the same as what everyone else is eating, that makes a huge difference.
Definitely. So, Gabby, what is the clean label movement, and how can this be leveraged for various markets?
Well, clean label, and we did touch on it during the masterclass, is all about trying to get rid of all of those additives. We seeing more and more, and specifically in Europe, there's a huge movement towards going for clean label food products. But even in South Africa, we're seeing more consumers are opting for food products which aren't full of all of those different additives. You're talking preservatives, you're talking antioxidants, various different additives, and even down to things like food colorings. And like we said, you know, using things like vegetables to color your products instead of using artificial colorants.
Yeah.
And something that for me is so incredible about the pea protein products that AGT has come out with is the fact that there is not a single preservative inside. There is not an anti-caking agent inside. It is just single ingredient, clean label, nothing, no frills, no fuss. It is what it is.
Brilliant. Wendy, are the key consumer trends powering the plant-based market at the moment?
Yeah, most definitely, Chantal. I mean, never before in all my years of sales have I heard plant-based so many times, so often. I mean, that's what makes it exciting in this time to work for AGT, because all our products are plant-based.
Definitely.
I mean, from our pulses, you know, to everything we supply is plant-based. So yes, definitely you hear it everywhere. All the requests I get, all the inquiries I get on email is, what do you have that's plant-based? And I'm very excited about these 3 products.
Great. It's interesting, but let's get down to the crux of it. I'm sure everybody wants to know, what does this cost?
Well, I hate talking price, because then we don't talk about the value of the product.
Sure.
And very well, what goes around is, let food be your medicine. What value do you put to your health?
Exactly.
I mean, medical costs are soaring. So really, having said all of that, let me come down to the crux of it. So our texturized pea protein, which is something between 120 to 150 Rand a kilo. And I say this because our products are imported and, there's lots of other costs involved with import costs, but it's still cheaper than meat. So that's good. Our pea pasta is about 60 to 75 Rand a kilo. Also, sounds expensive, but very filling. It is, you just need literally half a cup, and it fills you. And then our pea crumb, which is between 47 to 52 Rand a kilo. Our coarse and the medium or fine crumb is the same price.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Well, let food be your medicine.
Absolutely.
I really think we should start thinking about what we put in our body, because essentially you are what you eat. Dr. Tilbach, what other applications can these 3 AGT products have besides what we've seen in the cooking demonstration?
Thank you, Chantal. The overall products that we can use, these pastas especially, it can be used in any type of pasta dish, such as the stovetop soups, casseroles, or even in canned pastas, in different retorted pastas, restaurant style, because these pastas can handle much longer time and longer cooking time. In terms of veggie crumb, we can use them in any type of batters and breading applications, because these products, they really create a very long-lasting coating for deep fried foods, really applicable for food service, as well as it can be used as a binder in different type of meat applications as well. Texturized pea protein can be used in any type of meat analogs, from chilies to burgers to meat sauces, meatballs, sausages, as well as even like the foie gras, like a different type of meat-free different pastes. So that can be used in so many different applications. In addition, texturized pea proteins, they can be also used as a meat extender to lower the saturated fat and the cholesterol in the meat products in formulations such as 70-30, 60-40, so that we can come up with reduced cost and reduced carbon footprint formulations. So those would be my suggestions.
Yes, sustainability is really what we're looking for as well, and the environmental impact of what we're eating. Lastly, I find it fascinating. Why do people who choose plant-based foods wanting a burger to look and taste meaty, Donovan?
Yeah, it's a good one for me to answer, because it's probably the question I get asked the most. Why do I want my burger to taste like meat if I don't want to eat meat? And it's like I said earlier, I grew up eating meat. I ate meat for 30 years. I like the taste of meat. So if I can have it without the environmental issues, without having to harm animals, because that's important to me, and also for, some of the products are definitely healthier, as you spoke about earlier. So it's if we can get all of that in a meaty, tasty burger, why wouldn't I want that? And also, like I said earlier, it's just so much more acceptable socially if it looks and tastes like what we're used to.
Yeah. Okay. Can I ask Wendy, with all the research done and these products being tried and tested, what can AGT Africa offer clients and NPD teams?
Well, what's very good about AGT is that we've got our own in-house NPD team, and we can send them out with our consultants to go and speak to the NPD and the research developers and work together, with recipes, and even apply our products to their recipes and substitute some of theirs and that way we can also provide recipes for them. So we come to you, as it were,
That sounds like a great value added benefit.
Yes.
Thank you all for the great chat, but it's not over yet. We have collected some questions from our viewers. Let's see what we've got. Okay. Question for Wendy from Suleiman. What forms are the TPP available? Are there different forms of TPP available?
So right now we've got it in like strips. I wouldn't say flakes, but they are like strips, and sort of, they're not all consistent in size, but they look like shredded meat, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Hope I've answered your question, Suleiman.
And then a question for Dr. Tilbach from Verona. Are dried peas as nutritious as fresh peas?
Yes, they are as nutritious as fresh peas. The only difference versus fresh garden peas, there's a little bit more starch in dry peas. In fresh garden peas, there's more sugars. So the overall carbohydrate chemistry is the overall breakdown is a little bit different. But in general, they are as nutritious as high calorie with its proteins and carbohydrates. But the main breakdown is the presence of sugars. In fresh garden peas, there's more sugar versus the dry peas. And dry peas, we are looking at more starch.
Brilliant. A question for Gab from Marla. What preserves these burgers, seeing that no additives are used?
Well, in the burgers, because they were fresh burgers, we didn't need any preservatives. The pea protein itself didn't need any, the TPP didn't need any preservatives. As it came, we just reconstituted and made those burgers fresh.
So they were dried and dehydrated?
They were dried and dehydrated before we actually used the TPP, and then we reconstituted it. So it didn't actually, as a fresh burger, it didn't need any preservatives. The beauty of those burger patties was that they actually formed so nicely, which often you don't have when you're working with some of your plant-based alternatives. So they formed really nicely, and I have no doubt that they would be able to go into the freezer. If you were to freeze them, they'd freeze beautifully, and then take them out and literally thaw them, put them into the pan, and I have no doubt that they would maintain that beautiful consistency they had.
Dr. Tilbach, another question for you from Carrie. How is the pea protein deflavored?
The deflavored process is done with the thermal treatment. It's a heat and moisture treatment, and also it can be done in extrusion. In case of the texturized protein, we use extrusion process to deflavor our proteins.
Okay. A question for Wendy from Marla. What is the percentage of protein in TPP, and is there pea fiber available?
Yes. So the question is a valid one. So in pea protein, you've got, or per serving, it's about 10 grams, and the serving size I'm referring to is about 30 grams. So it's about 10 grams protein. And there is pea fiber. I can't tell you offhand exactly how much, but I'm happy to send you a mail, Marla, and give you the information.
Great. We've also had some comments from viewers asking for the recipes that we saw in the cook-off. If you contact your sales rep or you email us on the sales email address that we're going to show you just now, you are welcome to all the recipes that you've seen in our video. Okay, so let's have a look at our 2 lucky draw winners for the Woolies vouchers. Let's spin the wheel. Andrea Pododi. We'll spin it one more time for another lucky winner. What do we... The other winner is Theus Khan. Congratulations. We will be in contact shortly with you to hand over your Woolies vouchers. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. To my guests, Dr. Tilbach, Wendy, Gabby, and Donovan, thank you for your valuable time and effort. To all our viewers, if you want more information, just go to our website and contact us on sales.za@agtfoods.com. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you found this session insightful. Enjoy the rest of your day and see you next time.
Bye.